Seoul awoke to an electricity in the air. A vibration that pulsed through the city's boulevards, subway lines, and crowded cafes. The news had broken with the weight of thunder. Park Bo-gum and Kim So-hyun, two luminous stars who had grown up under the spotlight, were not only getting married but would share their vows in the first ever globally broadcast celebrity wedding of its kind. The date was set, September 20th, 2025, and the venue confirmed, the iconic Shilla Hotel in Seoul. A place where history and modern luxury met in a breathtaking embrace. The Shilla Hotel was no stranger to grandeur. Nestled in the heart of the capital, its sprawling grounds had long been a symbol of sophistication, where heads of state, Hollywood elites, pop royalty mingled beneath its glittering chandeliers. But never before had its banquet hall prepared to hold such a fusion of private emotion and global spectacle. The ballroom that had once echoed with diplomatic banquets and couture fashion shows was about to become the epicenter of a cultural earthquake, as the world tuned in to watch two beloved figures join their lives under the eyes of millions. For Park Bo-gum, the journey to this moment had been shaped by discipline, talent, and an unshakable warmth. His face, sculpted yet approachable, had graced drama screens from Seoul to Sao Paulo. He carried within him the rare alchemy of vulnerability and charisma, capable of bringing to life characters who lingered in viewers' hearts long after the credits rolled. Kim So-hyun, his bride, carried an equally remarkable story. From her beginnings as a child actress to the layered roles of her 20s, she had displayed resilience, intelligence, and grace, becoming not only an actress but a cultural touchstone for a generation. Together, their union felt predestined, two paths winding through the labyrinth of fame until they converged beneath a soft Seoul sky. For years, the possibility of their relationship had danced like a rumor through the media. Fans dissected every stolen glance, every shared stage, every coincidental vacation. Industry insiders whispered of dinners held away from cameras, of gifts exchanged discreetly, one that grew steadily in the shadows of the limelight. And yet, both stars remained silent, dignified, unwilling to let speculation define them. That changed one spring evening in early 2025 when a photograph surfaced, the two walking hand in hand along the Han River, serene and unafraid. The image spread like wildfire, igniting every platform, every headline. The silence was broken, the truth undeniable. Weeks later, the confirmation came. At a press conference broadcast live, Bo-gum and Kim So-hyun appeared side by side, radiant and composed, their words calm but their smiles luminous. Yes, they said. We are engaged. In an instant, Korea's entertainment industry shifted. Hashtags trended worldwide. News outlets from Tokyo to New York ran the story as front-page news. The announcement was more than personal, it was collective. By millions who had grown up with them, who had laughed, cried, and dreamed alongside their characters on screen. The choice of September 20th at the Shilla Hotel was deliberate, steeped in symbolism. September in Seoul is a season of transition. Here the heavy humidity of summer gives way to crisp air and golden sunsets. The Shilla, with its grand ballrooms and lush gardens overlooking Namsan Seoul Tower, presented continuity, traditional Korean elegance fused with modern opulence. For both Park and Kim, it was a place where the professional journeys had often led them, attending awards ceremonies and industry galas. Stars but never before as bride and groom. Preparations for the event became a global obsession. Every detail was scrutinized, every whisper magnified. Who would design Kim So-hyun's gown? Would it be a celebrated Korean designer weaving subtle hanbok influences into the fabric? Or would she step into the hall in haute couture from Paris or Milan? Paparazzi trailed designers across Gangnam, hoping for a glimpse of sketches or fabric swatches. Gum's tuxedo became the subject of equal speculation, with fans debating whether he would opt for understated classicism or something daring to match the historic scale of the event. Guest list read like a who's who of the entertainment world. Fellow actors who had shared screens with the couple, idols who had performed alongside them at festivals, politicians and business moguls who understood the weight of their cultural influence, all were expected to attend. Rumors of international attendees swirled, Hollywood stars who had expressed admiration for K-dramas, Japanese and Chinese actors who had collaborated with them, and even whispers of global musicians eager to perform. Meanwhile, Seoul itself transformed under the weight of anticipation. Murals depicting the couple appeared in Hongdae, And Gangnam sold themed drinks in their honor. Fans from across the globe booked flights, filling hotels weeks in advance, determined to be in the same city as their beloved stars when history unfolded. The economy saw a curious surge, tourism tied to the event generating headlines of its own. The wedding was no longer a private affair, it was a national celebration and an international spectacle rolled into one. The countdown to September 20th grew intense. Networks fought bitterly for broadcasting rights, with KBS, SBS, and NBC vying against streaming giants like Netflix and Disney+. The stakes were astronomical. Analysts predicted the wedding could become the most watched live event in the history of Korean television, rivaling even international sporting spectacles. Then the day arrived. Seoul awoke under a sky brushed with late summer sunlight. The air crisp with promise. Outside the Shilla Hotel, barricades lined the streets as fans gathered from the early hours, clutching banners, flowers, handwritten letters. Security patrolled in tight formations. But the atmosphere was festive, not tense. News vans lined the roads, light dishes angled to the heavens, their crews ready to beam the images to the farthest corners of the earth. Inside, the Shilla had transformed into a palace of dreams. The grand ballroom glittered beneath chandeliers, crystal catching the light like a raindrop frozen in time. The aisle stretched elegantly across a floor covered in white blossoms, leading to an altar framed by cascading orchids and subtle touches of Korean artistry, delicate fans, embroidered silks, and motifs drawn from traditional palaces. Of lilies and roses mingled in the air, lending the moment a fragrance that felt timeless. The guests began to arrive. Their entrances broadcast live to millions watching from their living rooms. BTS members stepped onto the red carpet, greeted by thunderous applause from fans stationed outside. IU, dressed in understated elegance, filed for cameras. Song Joong-ki, Bogum's close friend, appeared visibly moved even before the ceremony began. Blackpink dazzled, their gowns flashing beneath camera lights, while industry veterans like Lee Byung-hun and Song Hye-kyo carried themselves with regal calm. International celebrities followed, actors from Hollywood, musicians from Japan, directors from Europe, all drawn to witness a love story that had transcended borders. Then came the moment the world had waited for. Park Bo-gum appeared first, stepping into the hall with a grace that silenced even the buzzing of cameras. His tuxedo was classic, black with subtle embroidery at the cuffs. His posture impeccable, his expression serene but full of emotion. The applause swelled, and yet he seemed to hear nothing but the rhythm of his own heart. Music shifted, a swell of strings rising. Doors at the far end of the hall opened. Kim So-hyun entered, her gown shimmering under the light as though woven from moonlight itself. The dress combined modern couture with the delicate folds of hanbok inspiration, flowing lines that spoke of heritage, embroidered motifs that whispered of continuity. The hall erupted. Some guests in tears, fans watching live gasping audibly across the world. He walked with composure, eyes locked on Bo-gum. And in that instant, the noise faded. There was only the bride and the groom, closing the distance between them. Vows were simple, spoken in voices steady yet trembling with meaning. Promised not only love but understanding, not only companionship but partnership. When they exchanged rings, the hall erupted in applause that echoed across continents. The kiss that sealed the union was both delicate and powerful, sending waves of emotion through the ballroom and through millions of screens broadcasting live. The reception that followed was as lavish as it was heartfelt. Groaned under the weight of a menu that fused traditional Korean royal cuisine with modern international flavors. Guests feasted on delicacies while live performances unfolded. Friends serenaded the couple. Orchestras filled the hall with symphonies, and dancers paid tribute through artistry. The first dance between Bo-gum and So-hyun was tender, a moment captured in countless photographs, destined to become iconic. Behind the scenes, quiet moments whispered of intimacy, parents wiping away tears, close friends embracing. After breaking through the grandeur, the Shilla staff moved with precision, ensuring perfection. While outside the hotel, fans cheered into the night, celebrating as though it were their own wedding. The next morning, headlines blanketed the globe. Wedding of the century, declared Korean outlets. Story that united a world. Read international ones. Social media overflowed with clips, memes, and tributes. Economists noted the surge in tourism and merchandise sales. Cultural critics reflected on the balance between celebrity privacy and public spectacle. But above all, there was joy, an overwhelming sense of shared happiness. As though millions of people had witnessed not just a wedding but a miracle. Park Bo-gum and Kim So-hyun, in a statement released after the wedding, thanked their fans for their support, asking for understanding as they began their new life together. Their honeymoon destination was revealed days later, Paris, the city of love, where they planned to retreat away from the cameras and breathe as newlyweds. And so, the story concluded not with an end but with a beginning. A beginning for two souls who had carried the weight of fame, who had weathered speculation and scrutiny, who had chosen each other not in the shadows but in the brightest spotlight imaginable. Their vows echoed not just within the walls of the Shilla Hotel but across the world. A reminder that even in the most public of lives, remained profoundly personal. The live wedding of Park Bo-gum and Kim So-hyun on September 20, 2025, was not merely an event. It was a collective experience, a shared memory etched into the cultural fabric of a nation and the world beyond. And as the lights dimmed and the city of Seoul returned to its rhythm, one truth lingered: history had been made, and love had triumphed before the eyes of millions.